Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
Hum. And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
There you go. That was something. Do you think it's ethical for someone to go and flip one of the pedals with our pictures on it for $2,000, Steve?
Damn. You're just going for it. Um so the this was such a weird thing to see.
Yeah, super weird.
Yeah,
This was
one
a
of those
couple weeks
pedals.
back, and I think it was interesting because of the reaction to it on our Facebook group, and there was some
Yeah.
legitimate debate going on because obviously there was some negative reaction to someone bought one of these. There was only 10 of these sold. Someone bought one
Yeah.
and immediately tried to flip it on Reverb for $2,000.
Yeah. I would not have had I'm just going to cut to, like, this is
Sure.
the end. I'm not even going to discuss this. I would not have had a problem if somebody would have bought one of these and then said, you know what? I bet I could get $400 for this
Yeah.
and relist it for $400. It's a bit fast. The idea of, like, you bought it and it's listed like a day after you probably received it is dicey.
Right.
I think that's very weird. I whatever. But being a partial owner, right? I got a 50-50 for free
Right.
and I sold it for $350.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like most of the time, we're like, I mean, if people want to flip, they're gonna flip. You can't stop them. But
yeah.
it felt extra weird to us, and I think a lot of other people, because it was a charity thing, and it's like this person's
Yeah.
trying to make probably more money than the charity got with the sale of one pedal versus all 10 of them.
Yeah. So I caught wind of this listing from, I want to say, Philip Carter from 40 Watt, who you're on his show that just
Yeah,
was
yeah.
released recently.
It was a good episode. Everyone go listen to it.
I think he was the one who sent it. He posted it on a Discord server I'm on, and hopefully I got that right and it wasn't somebody else. Um, it may have been. It was either Philip or it was David um, Ishikawa
Hmm.
who posted it. I think I probably butchered that last name because I'm trying to do it from memory. Um, but I don't necessarily have a problem with people. I think it sucks when people buy something and you can tell they are buying it for the purpose of flipping.
It was a
You know,
speculative
but what's
investment.
yeah, but what's insane to me, the part about this I found appalling wasn't the flip. It wasn't even that there's a charity.
Sure.
It's a charity thing. It wasn't. Uh, it was. And yeah, you're absolutely right because I got this and I sent it to Grant and Grant straight up said, like, this is more money than I raised for charity.
Right.
Like, the listing for this is more money. And the original listing, the guy just looked like he had copy pasted off of the description off of the Big Ear site and
Right.
taken parts out of it. But, like, the last paragraph was, this was a charity. It said, like, this was a charity pedal for Sweet Relief, da 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 da. And it's like, dude, so you're basically saying, like, you bought this purely as speculative. And I know people do this all the time, right?
Sure. And
With the
it's
pedal
honestly
movie.
like it's fine. Like if people want to try to flip things, like we accomplished what we were trying to accomplish by selling it. We raised the money
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
charity. It's now his possession and he can do what he wants with it. But it feels so icky, especially when it's something you're connected to. Like when all the flipping was going on with the Bliss factories and stuff like that, it was like, yeah, that sucks, but whatever. Like people are gonna pay it. Like this, I think there's something so cartoonish about $2,000 for it too. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and
It's
the
a very
Bliss Factory.
it's a cool pedal, but it's a very simple. It's a 3-knob overdrive. It's based on a tube screamer
Yeah,
circuit. Like it's not like this is any sort of secret, like special, like unobtainium. Like
yeah. The Bliss Factory or any of those, like Chase Bliss. What what was the pedal movie one?
it was
Uh,
the Bliss Factory, and then there were a couple
was it
other.
the Bliss Factory?
Yeah.
Okay, and so So in those cases, like I don't remember how much people were relisting the Bliss Factory for, um, but and this is the thing that I had to say about it. I don't even have an issue with speculative markets. If somebody would have bought this and said, you know what, I know people bought the 50/50 for $300,
Right.
$350, so I'm going to list this for $400, I'd be like, you know what, like I still think you kind of suck, but I get it. Like
Sure, sure.
you're trying to make a buck, whatever, right? Um, the same reason why I don't love that as soon as Bill Finnegan announced that we're running out of KTRs, they're not. I am going to have to redesign this to use new transistors or whatever. I didn't watch the thing. I just heard about it. Uh, that everybody relisted their KTRs for like $2,000, $1,500, $2,000. I don't have a problem with that because the Klon Centaur, which is no longer made, goes for like
Right.
$5,000, and the prices on the KTR have been increasing over time. If Paul Cochran came out and said, "I'm not making the Timmy anymore. MXR isn't going to make the Timmy. Whatever is on the market, that's all the Timmys there ever will be." Um, and the price is actually the price of my Timmy right now. I know because I put it on the Reverb collections. I bought that for like around $100, I think. And right now, apparently they sell on Reverb for like $200 to $250. So if all of a sudden he stopped making them and the price started going up to $300 or $400, I'd say, well, you know what? These are collectible. These have an
Sure.
established collector's market. So the prices are kind of justified. But for this pedal, the Stevens Burkhead, it sounds great.
Yeah.
It's a really cool design, but there's no market for it. There's no limited edition other big ear pedals that I'm aware of on the market that are going for over $1,000, let alone $2,000.
I mean, if this is worth
the 50,
if this is worth $2,000, I've got bills to pay. Someone make me an offer, you know.
yeah.
I love it.
$2,000.
I love this pedal. I should want to keep it more than anyone else. I should want to have it more than anyone else on the planet because it's got a picture of you and me doing our podcast thing on it. And I built this one with my own hands. But if someone offered me $2,000, I'd have a tough time saying no. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah. So a lot of once I sent this to Grant, and then Grant posted it in the group, and I was surprised at the mixed reaction. A lot of people, took a little bit of time to just send like send them $1 offers or $69 offers and be like, you're a beehole. And I thought that was hilarious.
It is, but it also is like we don't want to be, people that are sending minions to go do stunts and to harass people. Like, I don't want that vibe for our community.
I don't think that's I think if you list something on Reverb at like an atrociously bad price,
it's going to happen.
Where it's
it's going to happen no matter what if you do that.
I think you kind of
I
think you kind of get what you get. You get what you reap what you sow, kind of a thing.
Sure. Oh, we're getting
I was
biblical,
surprised
huh?
that the people.
We're getting biblical now, huh?
I was kind of surprised at the people who were just like, well, he bought it and it's his right to do what he wants with his property. Like, I don't disagree with that in principle, I guess. But at the same time, how many people in, whether it's our circle or the gear world in general, $3,000. I mean, and we've done it. $3,000 Gibson. They're making these in a factory.
Right.
How can they even consider selling it for that much money?
No, like on no planet is this worth $2,000. Like this.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Like I want to know where he came up with that number from. Like it. Like where does that number even come from?
He had another limited edition pedal that I was finding other people selling it. That limited edition pedal for I forget. It was like probably $800 or $900. I want to say, and he had his listed for $8,000.
Jeez.
And
it's
again,
hard to believe that this person is serious. Like, maybe it's a joke. Maybe they're joking. Like, maybe this isn't being funny. Like that, and that's like we like funny stuff.
I mean,
but I feel like there would have been humor in his description if that was the case, right?
Right. And there, because this is a strategy that people will try to employ on Reverb, where that they will list something for like a ridiculous price, and then they will, after like a week, they'll drop the price and they'll show up on people's feeds 90% price drop or
Right,
whatever.
right, right.
And it's like, I don't, I just, I didn't see anything about this that made me think that that type of thinking was in place. I think this guy, like,
He's swinging.
I
He's
don't
taking a
know.
chance.
It and maybe, yeah, like I said, maybe he was hoping one of these people, one of these haters would be like, that's only worth 100, and that I know that was this much new, and like there's no way marked up, collector's value would even be more than like $300, so he could just respond like,
Right.
I'll sell it to you for $300.
I mean,
I don't know. I have no idea.
the only way to combat this sort of thing is to just not buy it. If anyone out there
Right.
has a problem with flippers, like price gouging and stuff like that, just don't buy from them. Like
But I also,
if everyone stops buying concert tickets from scalpers, then scalpers wouldn't be in business. I mean, they wouldn't get to see the concert, but the scalpers wouldn't be in
right,
business.
right. And I think there's that side of it, and the other side of it is, while we never made any sort of direct contact with sellers, we built this channel on making fun of people listing things at stupid prices.
Right, right,
So,
totally. Yeah.
and
I
I
don't
don't know. I
I
don't.
think I think everyone that was in the comment section on that post uh was doing a good job of making their point, and I think all their points were valid. Like, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Like, yeah, is this person an asshole? Yeah, probably. Are they totally allowed to do this? Yeah, absolutely. Like, they're fully within their rights.
Apparently they aren't totally allowed to do it because Reverb pulled both of the listings.
I was under the impression that the person self-deleted, but maybe Reverb did. I don't know.
Maybe one of them was. I mean, maybe they both did. I don't know. I do know Reverb does, I think, have a policy where if you list something for like an egregious price where it looks like the price is just a marketing thing, they will like pull your ad.
Right. They'll be like, hey,
You
you
know,
need to take a
if you
closer look at this, bud.
Squire Stratocaster 2021 Squire Bullet Stratocaster limited edition, only 50,000, only 500,000 made this year. Limited edition. $20,000. It's not worth it now, but it will be in 100
I know
years.
Josh Scott himself was getting his ads pulled by Reverb when he was listing his Klon Centaur, the number 2. What was he trying to sell it
Oh
for?
yeah, yeah.
Like
Uh,
like
like $500,000,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. It was crazy what he was trying to get for it. I don't think he was joking. That was a joke, but he had to keep relisting it because they kept pulling the ad.
Yeah. Speaking of um
And maybe that's a reported thing. Like, people report an ad, and that's how it gets flagged or something. I don't know.
oh, I'm not seeing any on Reverb right now. Apparently, when I heard this, actually, I heard this on, man, we're talking about 40 Watt Podcast a lot this week.
Sure.
I
Everyone should
listened
go
to the
listen. It's a good
episode he did.
podcast.
I listened to the episode he did with Jonathan Diaz.
Maybe don't listen to that
from
one. Might
the
be
effects loop. What's that?
maybe don't listen to that one. I'm sure there's better episodes. I love you, Diaz. You know I'm teasing you.
But basically, Diaz was saying that he, after Josh, he didn't even make a video. He just teased a video, that he wanted to do research on Gear Supply Company. And then Diaz had been collecting Gear Supply Company pedals, and I think he had I think there were five of them.
The most worthless collection of pedals ever.
I sold him one of them. I sold him my Gear Supply harmonic tremolo for like $80, I think. And apparently he sold the entire set, I don't know if it was his whole collection or just the set of 5 pedals, for like $1,200.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've honestly always wanted to have kind of like a controversial pedal shelf collection and get like the Freakish Blues
Yeah.
Alpha Drive, get the Vertex Wah, like get things like that. But they can hardly be more expensive than they should be. Like there's a few people out there who still believe that the Alpha Drive has some sort of magic in it, even though it's a Joyo Ultimate Drive that's been repainted and gooped. But I kind of want one just to look at it and be like, well, there it is. There's this ridiculous thing that some company tried to pull on everyone. I don't know.
No, no, I think that's actually really the problem. Well, at this point, like most, if not all of those companies are out of business,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, totally.
Yep, there it is. He sold the full set, which is the preamp, the what is this? I'm opening the ad. Preamp, dynamic compressor, harmonic tremolo, light drive, and medium drive for $1,200.
The only person who's going to be buying that is someone who also got burned by Gear Supply Company and is buying it like a trophy. Like there's no
Right.
there's no market for those pedals. No one is like, "Oh, these were really good. These meant something. These were special and they're gone too soon." No, like it was a grift. Like he was running Kickstarters for pedals that he never planned on delivering to most of the people ordering them. And so it's like a lot of people got scammed. Like that's all that happened.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm seeing other Gear Supply pedals, not very many listed, that are selling for much more, like $80 to $100, which makes me wonder: did this just have a lot more value because it was the full set and it just happened to be?
Was there one that was like
the right moment,
ultra rare, like you can't get one of them or something like that? What if you sold the ultra rare one?
What if I had the harmonic tremolo?
Mm-hmm.
I had mine listed on Craigslist or on not Craigslist, on Reverb for a while, and every like 3 months, Jonathan would just send me a lowball. So yeah, I don't.
Lowball is what we had last episode.
Yeah, obviously this show is this show's built on. We got our footing talking about the used market, talking about doing flipping ourselves.
Of course.
I think there are certain cases where you can look at a thing and say, is this bad karma? Buying a 1967 Strat from a little old lady down the street for $400 and then throwing it on a Reverb a week later for $40,000. Like, it's probably bad karma. You can do what you want, right? Oh, you can do what you want, but it's probably bad karma if you believe in that kind of thing. But the other side of that is, sometimes things are dumb and you just need to talk about them. And talking doesn't cost me a lot of energy. Making comments about how somebody's a b-hole on Facebook doesn't really take a lot of energy.
The reality is like this person listing, this pedal that we made 10 of for charity for $2,000 that's never going to sell $2,000. Like that person is like, whatever, who cares? Eventually they'll sell it for whatever price they can get. The real a-hole is the person who buys one for $175 and then they flip it for $250. And then the person after them who buys one and flips it for $275. And like, it's the snowballing that is those are the a-holes. Like the person trying to get like $2,000 right off the bat, like that person's just like confusing. Like, what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. But everyone else that'll come along.
Did you say all flippers?
And like,
do you say all flippers are a-holes?
To a certain extent, like if we're gonna judge this guy as an a-hole, then everyone who resells in that direction is actually able to resell it, is actually able to pull in money off of it. They actually are doing the thing. They're just doing it on a smaller level. So like, where's the line? Where's the line in the sand of morality in between the guy swinging for $2,000 versus the guy who's like, well, I bought it for $175. I bet I can get $225,
Right. So, like you said, so, yeah.
Someone will buy
And
it
you know what?
for 225.
To an extent, I agree with the critics. It's their stuff; they can do what they want. But
It's
it's my
capitalism,
time.
baby.
Bi-
It's capitalism.
I can bitch about what people are doing too.
I've bought all
I
kinds of.
can sell
I used to
I can
buy.
sell 28 carats for an emerald. Whatever.
I used to buy HM2s just to flip them. You know, that's just taking advantage of that poor, poor, poor death metal market.
How dare you?
Those
They're going to come
poor,
for you.
those poor boys. They're gonna show up and burn down my church.
Yeah.
Joke's on you. My church is a middle school, so you're gonna burn down a public middle school.
Wow.
The weirdest, lamest black metal church burning ever. It wasn't a church when you burned it down. They were setting up for a play. It's gonna be Death of a Salesman in the auditorium.
No, man. What's going to happen is they're going to show up and they're going to be setting up for the Crucible, and they're going to be like, "Damn, this church is more metal than we are. They got stuff about witches all over the place."
Yeah,
All right, you want to hit this first ad?
if the death metal church burners show up on the wrong day of the week, they're going to be very confused. Yeah, this first ad was sent to us by Michael Kraus again, right? He sent us an ad
I
from
believe
the
so.
last one.
I dropped something on the floor. I'll be right back.
Go get it, Steve. The floor seems like it's off to the side. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's going to the bathroom. But this is some kind of long guitar with
Oh yeah, it's in Sibera.
a Siberian. It's a Siberian handmade Litvinov bass guitar. It looks fun. Like, you're the bass boy. What do you think about this bass boy?
No, this is a really cool shape. It says it bought it from a seller online from Siberia, Russia, who handmade bass guitars. Amazing condition, plays beautifully. Fully set up by a local guitar repair shop. Input jack, cleaned. Says a bunch of stuff. This is a really cool looking build. Litvinov?
What's
They're
kind
selling
of
this for $600.
what's kind of weird about it is the top of it definitely looks handmade. Like the cutout plywood top with like screws on the edges. That all looks very handmade, but when you look at the shot of the back, it looks like a commercial factory spray job on the back. So was this a bass body that he bought, or a completed bass that he bought, and then he redid the top? Like it looks like, like he hollowed out the whole guitar and then did a thin plywood pickguard sort of treatment across the whole top of the body. Because it doesn't look like it was made by the same person, like the whole thing. Like the attention to detail on that wood pickguard top material is different than what you're seeing on the fret edges, the inlays, the paint on the back of the body. Like, this looks like a modification to me. Yeah, like even the headstock, like the back of the headstock and stuff like that. Like, look at the joint on the headstock at the first fret. Like, that doesn't look like the same woodworker that made that wood pickguard top. That's just me being Sherlock Holmes over here.
I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying. This is kind of, and it says it's handmade, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out what this body shape is, because it does look kind of familiar.
It could still be a Siberian brand or a Russian brand or something that we've never seen before. Or it could be some, like, weird import Chinese thing that we've never seen on an Alibaba sort of situation. Who knows? But yeah, it definitely looks like a chimera of hand-done treatment and factory treatment, It does have a cool vibe to it, though.
I'm not seeing any. I mean, I'm not looking for that body shape in particular. I'm just seeing it, trying to see if there's any other. I looked up Litvinov bass, and nothing comes up. So I don't know. like I said, like it's just like a really cool shape concept.
Like
You
even the
and like
even
I said, like, I
the
didn't I didn't really notice the details until you really pointed them out because I was so fascinated by like the
sure
overall aesthetic of that top. I think is really fun.
the
It's got
headstock
like it's like
has
channeling some Rickenbacker things.
yeah. But the headstock has a pick guard overlay screwed
Yeah.
onto it. So many screws to put on the pick guard. It's already being held on by the bolts for the tuners, dude. You really maybe only needed 4 screws to hold this down, and there's 8, 9. There's 9 screws on this. But I bet that if you took that
What
off, there would be a brand underneath that, a different brand.
Yeah, and so what kind of bugs me about that is um, there are elements in this headstock design overall is one of them that that does look kind of like cheap. That kind of you feel
Yeah,
like is maybe trying to give away a little bit of the heritage of this instrument.
it's kind of a PRS shape on the headstock when you look at it from the back.
Man, this headstock is so.
I'm really getting like
What is
I'm getting
this?
an Alibaba vibe from the rest of it. I think this person got some sort of wild import bass guitar and they turned it into a project. And it's all fine. Like it looks cool and the price wasn't bad, right? It was $600 down from 850. Ah man,
Yeah, the price is a little higher now.
I mean if this was
Originally I thought it was probably okay, but then you pointed out all the weirdness of it. So
at least that's a parts neck that they brought in because the same person doing the woodwork on the top of that guitar wasn't building that neck. They just were
yeah,
not.
yeah.
If it was a fully hand built, Siberian guitar, then it would, I think 600, 850 even would be fair as, approaching this as a, like, a folk build, like local flavor sort of situation. But if it's just a Chimera, I don't know if you can justify 600 without knowing what it was built around, If the person was like, oh, I mangled up a $1,200 guitar and now I'm selling it for 600, then you're like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that ding to have, a neck from a $1,200 bass. But if they paid, $250 from AliExpress to get this, and then they did a bunch of their work and they're like, oh, that raised the value $350. It's like, no, it didn't. That's all I got to say about it. Do you have any final words for this
Man.
long guitar? I mean, it's a cool shape. I can see you playing this.
Yeah, I want to. I really want to play it.
I think the F hole wins me over. Like I normally wouldn't like this, but the fact that they snuck an F hole in there, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind
Right.
of classy and fun in a weird way.
I'm looking at a Pinterest listing for just bass guitar shapes, and there's so many,
Yeah.
and none of them are this.
I saw someone make
Um,
ask a question somewhere or make a comment somewhere, and the comment was, why are there so few new guitar shapes? And I thought about it for about 20 seconds when I realized there are way too many guitar shapes. Like, what are you
oh my
complaining about?
gosh.
Of all the instruments, there are more guitar shapes than there are of any other instrument shape in the world. There's so many options for guitar shapes. All you have to do is go buy one of them. There's like they've figured out every single way to make a Strat shape different. Every single way to do a variation on a Les Paul and stuff like that. And they figured out all kinds of
Yeah.
new crazy exciting shapes. Like the fact that anyone out there is complaining like, oh, there's not any new electric guitar shapes. Like, what are you complaining about? Because it's not real. Like,
Yeah. How many new bass guitar shapes, do you want?
right.
Um,
Like, if you're going to complain about
or
that,
guitar shapes, not just bass,
get
but
yourself a pen and a piece of paper and draw it for me. Draw the thing that you believe has never been done before. I almost guarantee you someone out there has done it. Like,
and you know what? Even if it has, like, how many piano shapes are there?
right. That's
Right?
what I'm saying. Like,
How many violin shapes are there? Uh,
Right.
And I'm sure someone's gonna be like, well, you got your traditional, viola style, da, 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 and you got electric violin. Like, well, electric violin is a different thing, right? Electric violin is it's like electric guitar versus acoustic guitar. Like, you can't compare those. Those are different. Those are different
Right,
things.
right.
I'm saying like of course the shapes are different
Right,
because they're different
totally.
things.
That's like just saying like, oh, see, there's two types of guitar. There's a dreadnought and there's a Strat over here. Like,
Yeah.
no, those are both one type of guitar. They're just two. They're one shape of an individual type of guitar. You're not going to find a dreadnought shape that is a Strat electric unless you're finding some sort of weird project we found on Craigslist.
Right.
That's my side tangent off of this. Sponsors? Do we want to do sponsors now?
Yeah, let's talk about Chase Plus Audio.
I want to grab a different pedal. You start talking about them, I'll find one.
Oh. Chase Plus Audio is a maker of fine musical instruments, the finest, with a PH even. Did I say musical instruments? I meant effects pedals.
You know what? Effects
they
pedals,
make pedals
are musical instruments. When I shipped my pedal board,
they certainly can be.
When I shipped my pedal board to Sweetwater last week, the guy at UPS asked me what I was shipping, and I said guitar supplies.
Guitar supplies.
And he wrote on the receipt guitar parts.
And
in a way,
what pedal do you got, man?
In a way, a pedal is a guitar part because it's a part of your guitar signal chain. It's a part of your instrument. Your amp is part of your instrument. Your cables are part of your instrument. Your pedals are part of your instrument. I'm holding the Chase Plus Bliss Factory. If there's any pedal that could be considered an instrument, I mean, here we go. This thing is a noise generator, and you can like get it's a fuzz factory, a la Chase Bliss. Like,
right?
There's like two legendary things put together. I don't know when, if they'll ever have a third run of these. This is from the second run. You have one from the first run, right? No, I think mine's from the first run. Yours from the second.
Yours
run.
is from the first run. Mine
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll come out with a number 3 eventually, because it's if you love a fuzz factory, like, this is the next evolution of that concept, and it does a lot of really fun stuff.
It actually cracked me up. I knew people who were like, "Oh, I really hope with the." You're gonna flip yours.
I'm gonna flip mine for $20,000.
$20,000. You know what? I'm going to comment on something after we finish talking about Chase Plus Audio. Head on over to their site, chaseplusaudio.com. They make pedals more creative than you are. The Bliss Factory was a collabo they did with Zvex. They are not in production, but they have lots of pedals that are in production. The Tonal Recall that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Actually, you talked about it because I was in the bathroom. The Warped Vinyl, the Gravitas, all kinds of pedals. Go check them out. ChasePlusAudio.com.
Yeah.
On the point of flipping pedals, have you ever listed a pedal and tried to use your brand to like sell it?
Oh, like be like, hey, here we go. 60 Cycle Hum is selling a pedal. Yeah, I've totally. Like, I've done videos where I'm like, hey, everyone, I'm live listing stuff on Reverb. Like, buy it from me if you want.
No, I mean, like, in your ad. So I'm looking at Bliss Factories right now, and it looks like the highest listed one is $1,000. Most of them are actually in the $400 to $500 range.
Oh, so good. They've come down.
Really, people aren't going too crazy with them. No, I mean, like, you just list it up there, and you're like, this pedal, as seen on 60 Cycle Hum, when I played it there, with a link to the video. So, like,
no, I don't like to do that.
This pedal originally owned by Ryan Burke of 60 Cycle Hum. That's me.
Every now and then I will, because it gives you the option to put in a link for a video. Every now and then I will put in a link to my own video.
I do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing as me, like, trying to push that in the description. Like, I never do that. I never go like, oh, as seen played by me, the actual guy who is a awful guitarist on YouTube and makes a living that way somehow. Like it's meaningless.
Have you ever wanted to own a pedal that was have you ever wanted to buy a pedal that was owned by Ryan Burke of 60 Cycle Hum? Well, now's your chance because I'm him and I'm selling this pedal.
I'm sure there are people out there who have bought pedals from me, and I think it would be fine. I think it would be healthy to have some excitement for a couple of days. Like, I've got the pedal Ryan had. Like that, I watched that guy on YouTube. Like I feel like a different connection to this. But I hope eventually that wears away, and you decide in between, like, oh, this is a pedal I use, or this is a pedal I should sell, and then you sell it if it's a pedal that you should sell.
So
I don't think anyone should hold on, like hoard or like keep track of what I've sold and stuff like that. Would be so stupid.
What I'm saying is, you should go to Guitar Center. You should go say, hey. I know the Boss DS1 is like $50, but if I buy 20 of them, which is what, $1,000 of DS1s, can you give me like a discount? And can I get, 20 DS1s for like $500? And then you take them home and you sign every single one of them in like in silver Sharpie, and then you list them on Reverb for $150.
If I'm going to buy
Boss DS1 signed by Ryan Burke of 60 Cycle Hum.
So tacky. If I was going to buy 20 pedals to resell them, couldn't I just get a retail license and become a retailer? Because that's essentially what you're doing, and pay.
Yeah.
Play retail for them. I can't talk.
Yeah.
Play retail for them, That's what I just said.
Like pay wholesale rate.
Right.
Get
about
wholesale
pay
rates.
wholesale instead of paying, MAP.
Yeah. Anyway, just
people
a
out there
stupid thing I wanted to know.
I bet you there's someone out there who's like, you know what? If I got a retail license, I could buy bulk and then sell, and then I would keep the ones I want, and they just end up becoming a guitar store, and it was just them trying to grift cheap pedals. I was gonna say, I got hit up by someone a couple weeks ago. I'm not gonna name names, but they were a shop, and they're like, "Hey, this other YouTuber sells demo pedals to me in bulk, at like bulk rate. If you're interested, I could do it with you too." And it like this person's in a different state, so it would be me packing a bunch of stuff up in a box and shipping out. And at first I was like, "Man, I get it. I get the time savings and just like, oh, I don't want to sell this stuff directly. I don't want to have people have my return address and stuff like that." But the other side of it is like, I'm not so hard up. I'm not so flush with money that I'm going to skip out on individually selling pedals that I can sell for, $100 to $300 sometimes. I'm not in that neighborhood where that's throwaway money, and I'm just going to sell in bulk to save myself.
Yeah.
20 minutes per pedal.
The only place I feel like maybe you could get away with that is like, every like once a year you're like, yeah, I'll sell you a tote of Afford-a-board pedals. Like there's 40 pedals in this tote. I'll sell them to you for like
I've been trying to think of creative ways
or whatever
to get rid of them. I've been sifting through them and pulling out the ones that I'm like, this is redundant. I'm not going to cover this one again. I don't need to keep this one. And I've been a diaper box that diapers come in. I've got a
how many diapers?
I can't see from here, but it's one of the big diaper boxes, and it's full of Afford-a-board pedals right now. And it's piling up over the edge, and I need to figure out how to disperse them. Oh my gosh!
What I heard.
Should we talk about the other email that I got like a couple of days ago?
So you want to do that for you want to talk about that for what's new? Let's talk about that for what's new.
I read it on the 40 Watt podcast. I might as well read it here if I can find it. Oh, I took screen grabs of it. So let me find it real quick. All right.
Well, if you're going to read it, I guess I won't spoil it.
Okay, I'm going to read this email I got from Azor Pedals. Hello, we are the Azor team. Our company has recently done an event, and a batch of Reverb pedals are given away for free. You don't need to pay anything to get dozens or even hundreds of pedals, which you can give to your fans. You can tell me if you need it, but the pedal has a defective rate of 5 to 10%, and the sound is a bit problematic. You can check it and give it to your fans to increase your fans. So I had a little bit of a back and forth with him, and I'm not going to read all of that, but then the final email from him was just him saying, I have sent out 100 reverb pedals. It's a combination of like an amazing moment in my life, like what just happened, and like the most threatening email I've ever received in my life.
I think this is like a lot of very stupid fun.
Yeah, you were pushing me.
You
You peer pressured me to do this because I was like, I don't
oh
want
my
to deal
gosh!
with this.
I said you were
said
like,
you have
should
to
we do this or not? And I think, yeah, peer pressure. All I said was, yes, absolutely, you should. I did not even private message you. You posted about this, and that's all I said.
Oh my gosh.
Which is there is some implication with that I am willing to at least help ship some of these.
Well, here's my thing. I don't think we should ship 100 individual pedals. I think that's stupid. I think maybe tagging them on to some sort of giveaway with groups of Afford-a-board pedals would be smart. I also thought like doing something in person, like an in-person like giveaway, like I'm going to be at this location. Steve and I will be hanging out, at the beach for these hours. We'll put up a Craigslist post, come get a free reverb pedal, and we just hand out free reverb pedals. Another thought I had
do you want to play test these, or do we just want to be like
I want to find the bad ones. I want to find that 5 to 10% that he said. He said they sound problematic, and the key word was there. They sound like something, and it's problematic. They're passing signal. I want to hear what problematic sounds like 100%.
Yeah.
And I want to do a video where I'm gonna have to figure out how many patch cables and how many pedals I can actually power over here. I might have to buy a dozen daisy chains.
No, so there's the rub, man. Is 100
reverb pedals.
Possibly not before this thing shows up, but I've got at least two high power isolated power supplies that I'm supposed to be rigging up soon. Well, one's rigged up, the other one hopefully soon. So. I think we could do some damage on this.
I'm not sure 100 reverb pedals would fit on this table. Let me just. I have a Donner right here. It's bigger than an Azor. The Azors are the little rounded ones. I'm gonna count how many. Oh, it'll fit 100. I'm positive it'll fit 100. I want to figure out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This table is 6 Donner pedals deep. Oh my gosh.
I mean, what if problematic just means like somewhere in the signal path, like the wrong type of resistor was used. So instead of passing clean signal,
right, it's a dirty reverb.
It's like you've got like 5% of your pedals are like fuzz verbs.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
And then that's when you
that would be like the best case scenario.
You like write the guy back and you're like, hey,
can I get more problematic
I found this
ones?
one. Here's a picture of it. Can I get 100 more of these?
Well, here's the joke. I mean, going back to what we were talking about at the start of this show, I get 100 pedals. 5 to 10% are problematic. Of that 5 to 10 pedals, maybe 3 of them sound desirably problematic. Now those become valuable. Now we're flipping problematic Azor pedals, and the rest are the functioning ones are giveaways. We've got 3 here. They're fuzz verbs, and starting bid, guys, $500.
So here's the thing. In that case, like, okay, $500 maybe not, but in that case, like, you could even justify that you did some of the labor, because I mean, when you think about like,
I sifted through 100 reverb pedals to find the good ones. That's what people
with some of these boutique pedals. I forget what the claim, and I've heard people argue that it's bullshit, but whatever. With the remember the M drive from Emerson
I knew you were going there.
Yeah, but they're not the only ones. Like there are a number of pedals
Sure.
on the market that were the transistors. I've heard builders say like, "Oh, I use this particular transistor and I need this particular value." And even when I order the ones that are supposed to be the same value, there's like, a 10% tolerance range. So only like 2 out of the out of 10 that I order are actually the proper ones. So the reason that the price on this is so high is because I'm throwing away 80% of the parts that I order, and I have to test every single one.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of like if you've identified the 5% that's good, and it ends up, that means we're only going to have like 5 to 10 failed pedals in this lot. So yeah, there might only be 1 or 2 that are failed in a good way.
And then if other people want to find their own bad ones, their own problematic reverb, they themselves have to buy copious amounts of them, and then try to resell the ones that are normal for normal price. And it's like that the labor involved is what makes the problematic ones valuable theoretically.
Do you think that these are going to market, or do you think they just probably? I mean, I kind of think they probably just scrapped an entire production run of them.
Yeah, the quality. There were too many problems in an entire run, and they're like, we have to give these away. We can't sell them. And
so no one's there. So you're going to be buying lots of them secondhand to try to find. You're going to be going onto Reverb looking for these pedals and hoping the ones that were listed are from a bad lot. How do you even know which one is the bad lot?
You don't. You have to. You're
just buying them blind.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this will never happen again, which is what will make these valuable, is because no one's going to do that. No one's going to invest. I mean, say you can get them for $20 each. No one's going to buy 100 of these.
This one's
going to spend. That's $2,000, right? 100 times 20.
Yeah.
No one's going to spend $2,000 to find 3 problematic pedals that they can sell for. I threw out $500, like $500 each.
Right.
Like, no one's gonna do that. Like, that's bad, and the amount of time spent to do it is bad. It would each pedal you would have to be able to sell each pedal for $1,000 to make it worth your while, because then you've got $2,000 production. You've got $2,000 production costs, $1,000 profit, assuming you don't try to sell 97 pedals for what they're worth, because then you're basically in business. You are now a retailer because you have 97 pedals to sell, and you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to sell 97 $20 pedals on the used market. Like, you've made so much work for yourself. Like the grift there is that you become a reseller of your batch to someone else who wants to sift through your batch to find more bad ones. And so now the resale batch, like the game is getting thinned out too much because there's people reselling the ones they already checked.
If you could get a good initial deal on it, you could probably relist like whatever aren't the bad pedals and just be so like stupid. 90 Azor Reverbs 2021 edition checked, tested as good. So you've already done the work. Now you just got to find someone who does want to set up their own store and happen to, want to sell these reverb pedals in their store.
This whole thing's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That email cracked me up.
I felt like I was hallucinating when I was writing that email back and forth. Like, what are you saying to me? You're saying I didn't pick 100. I didn't say send me 100. I said send as many as you want, which could have been incredibly dangerous. And 100 is still pretty dang dangerous. But he said possibly distributing hundreds of them. Like, he could have been like, okay, here's 600. Here's 600 reverbs.
Yeah.
I can't imagine 100 reverbs showing up at my door, which they're going to. But can you imagine 600 reverbs? It would be the size of like a flat screen TV. The box would be huge.
what we should do in the next couple weeks is hit up Hosa and be like,
Oh,
can you send us
no.
100 pancake cables?
No, once I get a count of how many I can power and how many patch cables I have, I'm absolutely hitting up Hosa because I know they'll be down to help out with this.
Yeah, yeah. This is
And
going to be so much work.
we'll include the patch cable with each one that gets given away or
No, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Or,
Just throw it in the box or whatever. And this is
here's
do you know do you remember the Sweetwater set the Guinness record uh for pedals?
right.
Uh that was 319 pedals. This would just be 100 reverbs. Um
You
Too
know
bad it's
you
not
want to hear
319 reverbs.
you know you want to hear 100 reverbs
Hell yeah.
with 5 to 10 problematic ones mixed.
There's no way you're even going to be able to pass, even with all of these
No.
bypass, they're not going to pass signal.
There won't be anything left. It'll just be
No,
it'll be the most beautiful static you ever heard in your life.
no, even like I'm saying, even bypassed going through 100 uh, buffered bypass cycles
it's
is
over.
probably going to
It's
kill
over.
it. Like,
I think it probably won't survive. I mean, maybe we take bets. Maybe that's a giveaway idea. Is people people try to guess where the cutoff of hearing any guitar signal is. Like, is it at 15 pedals? Is it at 45? Is it at 72 pedals? And we would have to judge that. We have to be like, okay, this is it. This is like the range where it stopped being a guitar signal and now it's just a reverb signal. It seems a little complicated, and it's very subjective, but I don't know. Should we do another ad or sponsor first?
yeah, let's do another sponsor. This episode's also brought to you by Big Ear Pedals.
Pedals.
We were talking about this pedal earlier. It's the Stevenson Burkhead. It is an extremely limited edition pedal.
Only 14 in existence and only 10 sold. And
14 in existence.
11 sold.
Three of them are kits.
Yes. Well, three of them were built. 3 of them will be built by people other than Grant. So that's you, me, and Robert who won the auction.
Well, you built one, right?
I built this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Then the 10 that are sold, my kit, Robert's kit.
And Grant's.
And Grant still has one.
Grant has a personal one.
Yeah, very cool.
We're all going to be rich. All 14 of us are going to be rich when we sell these for $20,000 each.
Oh my gosh. But on their site, they have a lot of pedals that are in regular or semi-regular production, like the Woodcutter, and the Loaf, and the Albee,
the Loaf, yeah,
and the L, all of which are mainstays. When I have a guitar board put together, these are mainstays on my board. The Albee's a mainstay on my bass board. So go check them out. Do you have demos for all? You don't have a demo for the Woodcutter, right? But you have demos for the rest of them, I think.
Yeah, I do. Here, quick story about the L. You know I'm a reverb nut. You know I love reverb.
Yeah.
The first time I tried one of these was in person at the first summer NAMM I went to. And I plugged in, I put on the headphones, I tried it out, and I turned and I looked at Grant. I was like, I want one of these. That's how I felt about it. That's how I still feel about it. It's a great sounding reverb. It's kind of doing a spring, like a take on a springy thing, but it's really more about it being kind of like a lush, big room reverb. It's got some sort of like modern modulation mixed in, but it's not over the top. Like it's an easy reverb that just sounds good, you know? And it does this great job of riding the line between like a retro vibe and a modern kind of ambient vibe.
I think the L is the perfect reverb. The way that I have mine set up is I run the L last in my chain, and then before it I've got two different reverb pedals that are kind of more that do like your either really off the wall stuff or do some octave shimmery kind of stuff. I put those there because I don't want to use those all the time.
Right.
but the L I want to use all the time. So the L is my always on reverb, and then I've got another reverb for doing crazy stuff. That the L doesn't do that, and it doesn't have to because it's really good at what it does,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just not crazy, and that's fine.
Like you could use the L to be like your really light, fill out your signal like blues reverb if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or you
yeah.
could turn it up and have
If
it be
you-
an ambient reverb. Or you could like kind of dig into the little bit of like kind of like belt and brick slapback sort of thing and get like some rockabilly surfish sorts of sounds out of it. Like it's a great reverb.
Folks, just go buy an L. Go to bigearpedals.com.
Let's not
Get on the
stop.
mailing list.
I don't want to stop talking about the L. Can we just do about 30 minutes of L talk, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Like just the L pedal, or do we also want to talk about what was that movie? Legally Blonde. We can talk about Legally Blonde
Why is because it's got L's, the letter L.
because the main character's name is L.
Oh my gosh, how do you have that trivia in your head, Steve? All right,
Dude,
this sponsorship is over. Thanks, Big Ear. I don't think we're gonna do 3 ads. Let's just do which one should we do?
Well, we've only done 1 ad, so
I know, that's what I'm saying. We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna. There's not time unless you want to really you want to do 2 ads right now. Let's do them quick.
You want to just do back-to-back ads?
Back-to-back ads.
All right, what ad do you want to do?
Let's do the Dreamleaf
You want to
guitar.
do the Dreamleaf Ibanez? I don't know why you call this. Oh, I do know.
About this listing: 70s Italian custom guitar decoration.
This is from Peter J. Stevens.
Dreamopedia is what the decoration is called.
What does Dreamopedia mean?
If you don't understand what Dreamopedia means, when the first time you hear the word, it's an encyclopedia of dreams, Steve. I mean, come on. 1 string is missing, but in good order? What does that mean? What is it? The string is missing, but it's in... Oh, they're saying the rest of the guitar is in good order. I thought they were saying that the missing string was in good order. Like, how do you know the condition of the missing string, dude? I tried to create something like India meets hippies. Okay. All right. I mean, he's not totally wrong. This has like a fun psychedelic look to it. There's a lot of hand craftsmanship that goes into this. It's got kind of like a folk art kind of vibe. A lot of kind of very cheap looking guitar components. Like that bridge looks like the cheapest Tele bridge you buy on Amazon, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the pickups are the same. And the rest of the hardware, who knows? The pick guard is a Telecaster pick guard with the bottom horn cut off, and then it is, look at how wide the bridge cut is on that pick guard. Like, what is going on there? Why is it so wide? He must no, that's a modification he did for a look.
The seller of this guitar is called Dreamopedia Guitars. That's why it's a Dreamopedia custom. That's the name of the brand.
Sure. But you were baffled by the meaning of the word.
Well, I just don't know what it would meant, and it's just like that. I'm like, what the hell is this?
You
and I
still
look it up.
don't
I'm
know
like,
what
eventually,
a Dreamopedia is.
Yeah, I get it. But like, I'm looking at the rest of the stuff in this guy's store, and they're like prints. He does other wood carving guitars. He does apparently he does portraits of Iggy Pop. And,
well, who doesn't? We all do that.
He's got a portrait of Jimmy Page that for some reason looks like Mel Gibson to me.
It looks like something was glued into the volume and tone knobs and then pried out. Like there used to be like a rhinestone in there or something, which wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it's got that look.
Also, like something I want to riff on is the way the bridge is set up. It's one of the Telecaster bridges that have the really long screws, and the way it's lined up on the body, like the saddles are all the way at the end of the screws. So you've got a good like 1.5 inches of screw there. And I didn't know this. I didn't know there was preference around this. I learned this from J. Leonard J. He has a huge preference around his Telecaster bridges that are like this, where he wants the saddles to be as close to the end of the plate as possible. He doesn't want that gradual break angle. He wants a very tight break angle, and he says that's where all the personality of a Telecaster comes from. So when you see it set up like this with the really long bit of string behind the saddle on a Telecaster, like according to J. Leonard J, like that's not a good Telecaster setup.
That's no personality.
No, I don't actually know like what would happen. Maybe it's a different personality. I don't think no personality is possible, but it's different personality.
Right.
And J. Leonard J has a very strong preference for one way versus the other, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha. But we were talking about a lot of Canadian music last week. J. Leonard J makes Canadian music.
He does. He's a specialist in Canadian music. Ethnic. Yeah, as a Canadian as an ethnicity, you know. I can't talk ever. Like, I suck at words.
Much like Rush and Justin Bieber and Shawn Mendes. I
will say the art on this looks good. It's clearly a hacked up Telecaster body, but he did actually some fun line work on the shape that he ended up with. I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate this guitar as a piece of folk art. Like, I actually really like what he's done with this very kind of rustic, psychedelic leaf and flower engraving on the top of the guitar. I even kind of like the way there's reds and golds and browns, like Thanksgiving colors mixed throughout, doing like this fall theme. And then it looks like those white lines, I think they're bits of wire, like baling cable that he's epoxied onto the top, and it's all very three-dimensional and textural and stuff like that. It has a cool look. Like it is eye-catching, and it doesn't hurt my eyes in any real way. So I think it's a piece of folk art. Like, I give it a pass. Like I'm not saying buy, but
I guess I can kind of see what you're saying.
If this was hanging in a coffee shop, I'd be like, oh, that's part of the local flair. Like, I love it. I love it.
Right. As a piece of folk art, you know, I can see why somebody would like this, and I can certainly understand your perspective. As a guitar, set it on fire.
I expect nothing out of this as a guitar. Like, but a really fun thing we haven't even mentioned yet is it's got an Ibanez neck on it.
Right.
and you know it's got an Ibanez neck on it because you see the headstock and it's all painted over. It's painted pink, and it's got a couple leaves and the wire coming through on it. Look, there it is. There's the Ibanez headstock shape.
Well, here's my question. Is this actually an Ibanez headstock? Because there are other brands that have used this sort of notched arrow, whatever you want to call it, headstock design. Not very many, but you see them. Did they just put that piece of wire on there to make it look like an Ibanez headstock, but it's actually something else?
No, dude. I think I'd bet you $25 plus the cost of a heat gun right now. If we stripped back that paint, there would be, you know, the very plain black on raw wood Ibanez printed like cheap RG like logo. Like, I think it's a parts guitar. This neck didn't come on this guitar, which is also funny because it's an Ibanez neck on a Telecaster.
Yeah.
Telecaster in theory. It's not a Telecaster anymore. But you can tell it's got that super flat radius. Just looking at the frets at the 24th fret there. Oh, it's got 24 frets, by the way. I wonder if this thing intonates. I mean, you've got enough throw on those screws. Maybe that's why the saddles are so far forward, because they couldn't get it to intonate.
This actually might be a really old Ibanez neck too, because some of the ones I'm looking at, that I think are newer, have a different truss rod entry.
Well,
the new Ibanez AZs have that long truss rod entry though.
Yeah,
interesting.
No, I have a feeling like this is looking at the nut and kind of like the neck itself. It's like, no, I've played this Ibanez before. This is the $250 Ibanez of our youth.
Gotcha.
You know, Didn't Tyak have one of those? He had some cheapo RG
Yeah.
that he
I think
swore by.
Yeah, it is the red RG.
If anyone knows Daniel Tyak on the internet now, like this is a guitar for him now. Like send him a link to this episode if you know him now of us saying this, and he'll hear the clip and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, they're right on. That is a guitar for me right now." It's not an insult; it's just an observation of personality. All right, the last ad, and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, what do you want to do for the last ad?
Well, there's a pedal here. I mean, this is the expensive pedal episode, apparently.
Oh yeah,
this is a way huge RL2 Red Llama Overdrive. Apparently these are extremely limited in production, and he started out wanting $2,000 for it on Reverb. It's down $495.12 to $1,500.67.91.
Yeah,
they did it. They did a reissue of this.
You can get the reissue for pretty cheap.
I'm sure it's not expensive, but I know that these were made in really limited qualities. Like there was probably like 10 about them. Oh, I've got the description right here. Collector's grade, way huge Red Llama RL2. This clear anodized finish Trips mentioned was only a run of about 25. Okay, so this finish is a run of 25, making this one of the rarer Red Llamas. Comes with the box as shown in pictures. I mean, I get it. Like it is
apparently Tom Petty used an RL2.
Oh, well, if I want to get that Tom Petty tone, this is obviously the way to do it.
This is the pedal you need when you won't back down.
People are going to think I was being sarcastic. No, I meant it. Like, if you want to sound like Tom Petty, this is the only thing you need. No guitar, no amp, nothing. You just need this pedal. It's worth it. $1,600 right now. Has this all gone too far, man? Like... Like, when we started this podcast, I was thinking about this the other day, and this could be like a whole other freaking topic. Like, when we started this podcast, what was life like? But when we started...
It was a lot different.
You and I used to balk at, because Strymons had just become, like, the thing everyone was joking about. Like, really? A $300 boutique digital pedal? Like, whatever. And they've held their value this entire time. And there's, to $300 to us back then in 2014 sounded... like bizarre for a pedal to begin with, but now it's commonplace. And now here we are looking at a $1,500 pedal, and part of my brain is like, oh, well, someone will buy that. Like it's not well this whole scene, this whole resale scene, this whole used market scene of pedals and like this collectability, speculative collectability stuff is like, it's become like abusively bonkers, right?
I think it's just odd, and I think it's I think it's indicative of basically
no one like I'm turning boomer right now. I'm turning internet troll boomer right now. No one on the planet is getting $2,000 worth of value out of any one pedal. Like, if you're a top pro musician and you're like, oh, I've got this original Tube Screamer, it's worth all this money. It was handed down to me by Steve Ray Vaughan. If it stopped working and they couldn't use it on the recordings anymore, that's not $2,000 worth lost of instrument value. It's all intrinsic value. It's all made up value. It's all nostalgic value. Like, it's like you can, I promise you can do what the Red Llama Overdrive does on your very expensive studio recording for less than $200 probably. It's all become bonkers. It's not about, it hasn't been about the function of these things in a really long time. Like this incredibly, like, bizarrely commonplace thing of these pedals becoming very, very expensive It has nothing to do with the function of the pedals at all.
No, it's a collector's. It's like a
Right.
collectability
It's all
thing.
collectoring. It's all
It's
collectoring.
and what it's driven by, I think to some or a large extent is the fact that we are in our late 30s. Well, you're not in your late 30s anymore.
I just started over, buddy. I'm in my early 40s.
So you think about like
The sun is rising on my 40s.
you think
The
about
sun is
like
setting on your 30s.
yeah. Um you think about the kind of music that we were listening to when we were teenagers,
Sure.
or younger, right? Billy Corgan is 54.
Is he that young?
Yeah.
I
Tom
guess that makes
DeLonge
sense.
from
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Tom from Blink-182 is 45. Basically, my point is like, and even older,
It
the
seems
people.
stupid to me that Tom
naming them.
DeLonge is only 5 years older than me. Like,
Yeah.
what was I
So
doing when he became a thing? Like,
I'm thinking about like the late Gen X, the age of like late Gen X, early millennials, were his late 30s, early 40s. But even more than that, like people who were teenagers during the butt rock era,
right.
who are all still dressing up as, which I don't know if that era is as like pedal heavy, which is why I think my benchmark thought process was Billy Corgan is
Right.
54 years old. It's all these people who like are still probably listening, they listen to Smashing Pumpkins when they hit in 1990, what, 3, 4, whatever. And they were like 16 then, which I guess is probably closer to your age. So they're probably in their late 40s now. They're a few years older than you, and they're probably finally in a position where they're halfway done, maybe paying their mortgages, and they're feeling pretty comfortable in their jobs, and they got a nice little retirement account set up, and and they're like, yeah. And they're starting to go back to listen to other music from that era, maybe and they're going, oh, this album that I liked was a clone through a whatever and a da 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 da. Yeah, I'd pay $5,000 for that pedal. Why not? I don't have anything else to spend it on.
Right.
And I think there's just kind of this weirdness where it's like it's the new guitar pedals are like boats for people who don't like boats. We've kind of said that kind of thing before, but
Right.
we're kind of in a heyday of people who kind of saw this. I'm hesitant to call guitar pedals like a cutting edge technology, but in some ways
it
it's
became
like
a
a
scene.
formative piece. What I would
It's
even say is
culture.
it's just what's that?
It's culture. Like, guitar pedals
It's
has
yeah,
become
it's
a culture.
it's a formative piece of culture that still has functionality, right?
Right.
And because of the rarity of it and the functionality of it, it's retained value more so
Yeah.
than other things.
Here's a question.
If
Here's a question I have.
Sure.
Going
What?
back to
Yeah.
the value of the functionality of these objects. If we were basing it as any pedal, the most expensive pedal because of its technical, construction parts value like that. Beyond that, what is the maximum value of a pedal as a tool? Where it's like, oh, I can't do that with anything else, or this just has the quality that I absolutely need. It doesn't have to do with any sort of like history. It doesn't have to do. It's just like this will make the sound that I need for this. Like, I'm having trouble in my mind justifying anything higher than the more complicated delay computer pedals. And multi-effect pedals and stuff like that, like the amp, like your Kempers and whatnot. If you count a Kemper or an Axe Effects as a pedal. But you see what I'm saying? Like, beyond their functional value, all the rest is just collectability, and that value will disappear someday. Probably not any time that we need to worry about or anything like that. But the same way everything transitions from, I was talking about this with Philip on the 40 Watt podcast. Anything that transfers from being vintage, which indicates desirability, to antique, which just means old. There will be a transition someday where all these things that we are seeing as vintage become antique, and that's a different value set. Because they're not functional anymore. It's not a function thing anymore. It's just, there's no function left. It's just this exists and it's old.
Yeah, I think, thinking about what you were saying with, the digital computer, the Kemper type things is the most value. And I think that's,
I think they have the most value as a tool that you purchase. And that you need to complete a task,
Yeah. I think there are certain things, you think about like things that drive for rarity, but sometimes rarity is just driven by age, is there really any reason that a 1981 Tube Screamer is $400, maybe more now? But then you can go buy a Tube Screamer, from Guitar Center for $90 or whatever. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons why. This is the kind of thing I think where, if you're being generous, which I'm inclined to not be generous to these people, but if you were to be generous to the people who are like, why are boutique pedals so expensive? It's just $20 a parts in a box.
Like, I'll never make that argument because I actually understand how making things works. But I think there is an argument that I haven't really considered until this discussion. Like what actually is the tool value of these objects, and why is the tool value of them so different from what so many of them have become?
Well, I mean, I think the question for that is, well, it's not the question of it. And you think about tool value. I was going to say the question of it is tool value just measured in like what you produced? And, I was talking about Smashing Pumpkins earlier. If, the Smashing Pumpkins didn't have whatever particular model of Big Muff that they used for those, would Billy Corgan, would Disarm or whatever, Gish, so I'm just naming songs.
So are you trying to like connect a value based on being connected to a known work?
No, I'm saying like, okay, if I write a song and the bridge of that song is just the super dope sounding, really cool sounding Rip and Fuzz thing, and I sell 10 million copies of that song, and I go, you know what really made that song is I had a loaf on it. I had a big ear loaf, and that because I used the loaf on that song, I wrote this song, and everyone loved the fuzz sound, and it sold, 100 million copies of this song, and I made 50 cents off of this song, because that's what 100 million streams is worth. No, I don't know. But like, it made me famous, and now I'm a millionaire, and it's all because of this pedal, right? Because that pedal is now my signature tone.
Imagine someone saying that, but like, the only reason I'm famous is because of this pedal. Like, there's probably commenters. Comment. Name a musician that's only famous because of their pedal. I bet there's a couple. I mean, there probably are, but what I'm saying is like, okay, Billy Corgan, Big Muffs, if he had done all of those Smashing Pumpkin songs with like a fuzz bright, sure.
Are we like, oh yeah, no, he sucks. Like, those songs are obviously like, and obviously there's more of a song than just a guitar tone, but there's also certain utilities.
I mean, now we're getting into multiverses and time travel and repercussions, butterfly effect sorts of stuff. Like, here's the thing. Like, you look at it in a multiverse sort of way. You change the fuzz pedal that Billy Corgan used, and reality fragments into all these other options where half of them he's more successful with a different pedal. More successful with a different pedal.
Right.
The other half, less successful with a different pedal. At the end of the day, the tool value of each pedal was still what you could buy it for.
Right. And so I think that's
as a functional tool, as a retail object, what you could buy it as was the tool value of it. And you have to make decisions when you're building something, constructing something. You're not going to buy tools that outweigh the cost of what you're hoping to, produce.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to buy a $6 million skyscraper crane to build the best damn 2-story residential house you can. Like the cost of the tool outpaces the value of the production, So there's
right.
When you think about it in these really cold business terms, like I feel like it's maybe an outlook on this whole situation that I haven't approached yet.
Yeah, I think when you approach it that way, then things only have value if you understand the difficulty in sourcing the materials, if such a thing is a limiting factor, the complexity or perceived complexity of the object. And so from that perspective, like the only reason that a Klon and people have made this argument, right? A lot of people have made this argument, like why would I? Back when Klons were like $1,000 or $1,500, and we first started to see Klon colognes,
mm-hmm. Klon
on
cologne,
the market.
The fragrance of horse.
Yeah, start to hit the market. You started to see this question all the time, like why would I want to buy a Centaur when I could buy a J-Rocket Archer for $150 or whatever?
Why would you want to buy a Centaur when you could lease?
So I mean, I think that's kind of the question is everything comes down to some utility and understanding a value of a tool if you're thinking about it that way. And so, yeah, if you're buying a Strymon Big Sky or a HX Stomp or a full Helix or a Kemper, like you said, like you're basically buying a highly specialized computer in those cases, Well,
the
so
parts, the build, the design, everything. Yeah, it's like I didn't blink when I needed to buy a new computer for me to do my work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It cost it. I probably blew $2,500 that day with other stuff that I bought too.
Yeah,
I didn't blink. I didn't feel it at all. But I'll sit there and like stare at a pedal and be like, is it worth this? Oh, I kind of want it. But, and I'll like debate. And it's part of the entertainment. I mean, that's what all this is. It's all entertainment. People aren't buying $1,600 Red Llama pedals because they need it for a tool. They're doing it because that's their fun.
Right. And I think that's an interesting perspective. There are people who in the next year will probably go to the movies like 10 times or whatever, maybe more. If they go to the one movie a month, they're going to go to the movies like 12 times, and they're going to buy 12 whatever fancy food because they're all going to go to like Sinopolis or whatever. So they're going to order
it's the boat argument too. It's like no one throws tens of thousands of dollars into boats because they want to fish. They can go buy the fish. They want the fun. They want the activity.
They're gonna do all of that. They're gonna go to their movies, and I'm gonna buy 3 delay pedals, and we're just gonna call it even.
Right. All right, let's wrap this up. We went long. Do you have any housekeeping to do?
No, but if you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, or for as little as $1 a month, you can support this program and help pay for StreamYard.
Yeah, which costs us $20 a month. What was I gonna say? A song. We can play a song this episode.
Oh,
sorry to drop that on you last minute.
We're
not going to react. We're not going to react to it, but we'll play it at the end of the episode and play the credits for everyone. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Why don't we play? Are you taking a note? Are you gonna take a note?
This is my note, dude. I'm gonna edit this.
You're gonna listen to this?
Right.
Well, just because you edit it doesn't mean you're gonna listen to what I say.
No, this is the part that I listen to at the end. I'm like, okay, what
Okay.
song is it for me to pull?
We're gonna play a song by Levi Main. He says, "Hi guys, I heard you mention in the last several podcasts that you need songs, so I just finished mixing these for the debut album of my band Bluebelly Junction. I thought I would share the first link, which, oh man, I think both of these sound interesting. Um, the first link is a song called Pork Hammer. Let's do that one, Pork Hammer. He
Pork
says for
Hammer.
guitars, Pork Hammer.
Yes.
Uh, For guitars, I use my D'Angelico hollow body, a Gibson J45, and my Epiphone Les Paul that I loaded with bare knuckle humbuckers. For amps, I used my Fender Bassman Marshall clone and a Jet City 20-watt head. I'm not going to talk about the second song uh, because we're not going to play it. At least we're not going to play it this time. I recorded it all on my iPad in my basement. Check out our website, bluebellyjunction.com. Thanks for the show. Keeps me occupied. A long-time listener, first-time subscriber. So thanks, Levi, for sending us a song. And
Yep.
sure we will enjoy it. I'm sure Ryan will enjoy it when he listens to it.
Yep. All right. Bye, everybody. Stay grounded.
See ya!